This title may be a bit hyperbolic, but genuine question. Who's watching Rick and Morty right now? This idea kind of spurred in my head because I noticed throughout the first couple of weeks of this season being out, Johnny Two Cellos uploaded a couple of videos, Spilling the Milk uploaded a couple of videos, The Roundtable uploaded a couple of videos, hell, even I uploaded the first episode review of Rick and Morty Season 8. But slowly afterwards, it seemed like everybody just collectively stopped caring about this season altogether. And that's what I'm here to try to figure out. Is it because it's bad? Is it because it's good? How does it compare to the last season? I want to discuss it all. Where the last season left us off, it felt pretty strong. The way they structured that season is they finally got rid of all of the story stuff they've been teasing really early on, so they could just do whatever they want with the rest of the season. So it's a lot more episodic, a lot more how it used to be, but maybe with less of that cruelty humor that they've been doing. By that I mean they're not snapping at the fans anymore in a passive aggressive way. It feels like now Rick and Morty is just existing, both in show and in reality. By that I mean some episodes hit, some are okay. What else can you say? It's basically how the last season left us off. I really enjoyed that Feral episode because it's one of those concepts that just really works in a comedy sci-fi cartoon, and they do things like that really well, which is why I feel like they started off this season with something in a very similar concept that was also very well received by a lot of people, me included. But no one is talking about the rest of the episodes. Rick and Morty's time in the limelight is over, which honestly is probably for the better. People aren't banging on McDonald's door for Szechuan sauce anymore. They've all just moved on. This phenomenon happens to most popular things that go on forever, The Simpsons being one of the main victims that come to mind. People still watch, but there's barely any discourse over the episodes. For the longest time, it was just The Simpsons fell off, they're not where they used to be until recently. I feel like Rick and Morty was in that phase when it came to the previous seasons. The discourse was just, it's too meta, or they keep dissing their fans for wanting them to finish stories that they started. Now it's simply here, no longer being hated on, also not being praised, which is why I say it's just existing. Throughout this first half, I really enjoyed episodes 1, 3, and 5 for reasons stated before. I just feel like their concept that just really work in this medium. Episode 3 was a look at what the last remnants of the Citadel was up to, which was this oddly wholesome story about this Rick living on a farm next to a town full of clone Mortys. Until one day these clone Ricks came to capture the Mortys and saw them all shooting Farmer Rick in the process. This left Farmer Rick and Arcade Morty, I think his name was, being this weird ragtag team trying to get them back, and I don't know, it was played really straight and just really well. I think it really worked. One of the Ricks in this episode was literally just Doug Dimmadome, owner of the Dimsdale Dimmadome. Episode 5 likewise was a sci-fi venture where Rick and Morty wanted some space coal for some reason. So to do that, they were gonna rock this planet where the people were cryogenically frozen, but somehow Morty messed that up and now they had to pretend that they were in the tubes with them. Rick taking the place of this rich spoiled kid and Morty taking the place of some old coal worker. It doesn't sound that exciting typing it out or reading it, but it ended up in this weird, wacky race type of chase, which made me chuckle, so I enjoyed it. Episodes 2 and 4 were fine and not as fine respectively. Episode 2 was really strong from a character standpoint because it was a Rick and Space Beth episode, and Rick is really trying to be in her life, which I feel like is kind of wholesome, and by the end of this space battle story, they seem to be closer. I say that this episode was fine because we've seen so many of these space shooty battles in Rick and Morty and so many other sci-fi shows. It doesn't really do much for me, but it got points for the writing of Rick and Beth. Episode 4 was an Easter episode and I just wasn't feeling it. I wasn't feeling it at all. I wouldn't say it was a bad episode, but it sure wasn't good. Wasn't that at all. It kind of felt like an old edgy YouTube Flash animation, like, what if the Easter Bunny was mean and killing people? Oh no. I just wasn't enjoying myself with that at all. I don't think there's a lot of Rick and Morty discourse anymore for two reasons. One, it's not really as controversial or passive aggressive with this meta humor, and two, I do also slightly blame it on the release schedule. This isn't the only Rick and Morty season to do this on Adult Swim, but is when I started to realize how prevalent it was for Rick and Morty itself. For some reason, they air first on Adult Swim and don't come to streaming services until months later. For instance, the season started I think at the end of May and is ending at the end of July, and it won't come on streaming services until September of this year, if it does. 2 whole months after it already ended. I don't think that's a good schedule at all. I was gonna say they need to go down the anime route or how Crunchyroll does it, but Adult Swim does this too. All of their shows, they're releasing on streaming services the day afterwards, so I don't understand why Rick and Morty is the exception when it comes to this stuff. It has to be something with the contract. They had to be trying to chase those views that they used to get back in the day when it comes to Rick and Morty. Maybe Rick and Morty still brings those views in for cable. I don't know, because I don't have cable, and I think the majority of people who would watch Rick and Morty don't have cable. But that's just my opinion. What are your opinions on why Rick and Morty's not talked about as much anymore? Leave them in the comments down below and let's get this discussion going. Maybe I'll see you guys back once this season's over and I can talk about the last half of the season. And yeah, I'll see each and every one of you around next time. Okay, goodbye.